Hi, I'm Karen, the host of Ignite Your Confidence. I am on a mission to equip women with tools to find their voice and lead with confidence, and most importantly, stand out. It took me too long to find mine due to self-doubt and fear of what other people think. I want to help women get there sooner than later, and the ultimate goal is so that you can be free. The next speakers are from Chic Influencer, Melanie Mitro and Katy Ursta, who are the co-owners. It's a company that helps business owners take their unique story and effectively market to their ideal client. They have a Make Chic Happen podcast, and they have an Amazon bestseller, the hashtag Make Chic Happen 52-week social media game plan. They're both married with 2 boys who are busy with sports. Katy is a busy hockey mom, and Melanie is a busy baseball and basketball mom. Melanie and Katy were college sorority sisters before they became business partners. Let's welcome Katy and Melanie.
It wasn't like one specific moment. It was sort of like these shoulder taps is what we call it, like over and over the course of a couple of years. So Katy and we've been working together for 8 years now. Yeah. And people just consistently would say, you guys you're really good at, building a business while being a stay-at-home mom. And they would say to Katy, like, how the heck did you, battle stage 4 cancer and grow your business exponentially? And so we just kept getting these questions that people were asking us about how we did what we did from, like a strategic standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, how we sort of made all the pieces come together. And one day we were sitting actually in my office, my home office, and we just got out these big sheets of poster board paper. And we said, okay, if we took all of these things that people keep asking us for advice about and turned it into a business where we actually mentor other business owners that are looking, that have a big idea, but aren't quite sure how to navigate the messy middle of it, could we support them? And so it was really just sort of this compounding effect of that people that just kept asking us questions that really led us to kind of speak up and launch our business, Chic Influencer.
Yeah. Love it. And what about for each of you personally, like thinking about your journey just in the world, about what do you think gave you the confidence to do this?
Yeah. I firmly believe that every story just matters. And when you kind of take it from the scope of your story is bigger than something happening to you, but it being empowerment for other people, it creates a ripple effect. It creates an impact. It makes mountains move. And for me, it was understanding that my entire life, I have loved storytelling. When I was a kid, I was a choose your own adventure reader. When I became an adult, I became a reading teacher. And so I analyzed text, and my big goal was to help people understand that whether you're reading Poe or Agatha Christie or I don't know, all the other greats, like you can see yourself in that role. And when you start to connect people to stories, you start to actually create human connection. And that idea of human connection is really what I love. I love when people hear a story, or they'll look at text, or they'll see a post and they'll be like, I feel like you were speaking right to me. And my goal is to help more women see that their story, no matter how big or small, it can make, an impact on others. And I really feel like that's, even as I've learned business over the past 8 years, I feel like there's nothing more powerful in marketing than moving people with a story.
I love that. I just love that. And I will say, even for myself, I come from a background in special education. I have a master's in special ed. I have an undergrad in psychology, and I have just like a helping heart, and so when I came into the online space and started growing my business, the one thing that I loved was seeing other people's lives transform because of this service that I was able to provide to them. And so for me, that was a little like hit of dopamine, and I wanted more of that. And so as I was helping people get results, I kept raising my own bar. And what I realized in that process of kind of starting with just like my customer and client base is that I really loved leadership. And that was not a gift that I actually knew that I had It wasn't a strength I knew I had until I was in this space. And so for me, it really was, okay, I've had these people get success. Can I help them have more? Okay, as I'm having more success, can I help these people have success too? And so really my passion started to grow for leadership and developing people. And I was sort of like I accidentally uncovered this gift that I had, but it was through those first few small wins and my ability to get curious about it that allowed me to really rise up and love leadership and love leading and developing people.
That's so great. Well, and I know that you bring a lot of gifts out of others, which help them to really be better versions of themselves in the world and serve the world.
Yeah.
And we also have a lot of insecurities. Would you be willing to share anything related to your self-doubt, just to help other women that might also be looking at you going, how did they get there? I want that too.
Oh my gosh. So I really feel that one of the things early on, especially in our business model that we are a part of, but we early on felt that it was based on competition. There was like a feeling of like trying to just outdo one another in numbers and everything. And you always felt like this urge to prove yourself in this space. And this shift started coming for me personally, when I realized there's a difference between true collaboration and competition. And when you collaborate with people, you find yourself rooting for them to win. And so moving that ship, like that, changing that perspective for me started with, if I am going to root for her to win, I am going to show her things that she can do really well. And I'm going to highlight her gifts and show her how she can even do them better. And it became a way for me to feel like, because I'm rooting so hard for her to win, it really feels like I'm in the win with her. When you're cheering someone on like that, it's not at a distance. It's like, I know that part of what I do makes her better. And I love that I get to be a part of that. And then there's this feeling of just liberation. It's freedom, because you understand that everybody has room to win. I mean, it's not a you're better or I'm better, but look at what we can actually legit drop the bomb on when we do it together. Yeah. And that's what Chic Influencer, our company, was really founded on. She's great at strategy. I mean, any type of business, she can look at it and say, this is what you need to do to get to where you want to go. And she can break it down. She can analyze it. She can strategize it. And then I come in and I weave the story into it. And so I teach like the process of how to actually get there for the emotional part of it too. So we couldn't have created Chic alone. It wouldn't have made sense. Sure, we could have had great strategy, could have created a great course on writing, like any of those things. But what the power of Chic is collaboration over competition.
Oh, nice. And when you think about just any concerns that you've ever had, like what have been some of the biggest maybe fears or doubt around your own stuff?
Oh my gosh. So I think for me, and now knowing, sometimes you think, oh, I'm the only one that has this same feeling on the inside, right? And we say this a lot. One of the things we say is like, the minute you bring it to the light, right, it sort of diminishes. Or the minute you start talking about something that makes you uncomfortable, you realize you're not the only one, that vulnerability, right? And so for me, it really was, I didn't feel like I was anything special. I don't feel like I'm, there's all of these other people out there in the world trying to make it in the online space. Why would somebody follow me, a little small town girl from Mars, Pennsylvania, that started out with no Instagram account and 75 Facebook friends, that doesn't have a degree or a background in, digital marketing and the social media space, right? And so for a while, it was this like, I don't know what makes me different. I don't know why I'm having success. I don't know what's making me stand out. And so it was kind of that, it wasn't comparison, but I just didn't know that I actually had a unique gift. I didn't realize. And so for a lot of us, we have to just be willing to say, okay, what makes me different? What sets me apart? What is my slight edge? And so the more I started to get curious, instead of saying, I don't know what it is, I got really curious about that. And I started to actually journal that out. Okay, I'm really consistent. I actually show up when it's not convenient. I'm willing to make some sacrifices, like when the alarm goes off. I don't hit snooze 5 times. I get up, and I say to myself, the only way I'm going to be successful is if I find these little pockets of time to build, the business. And then also it's, okay, I have the ability to rebound from a failure, where some people I notice I'm seeing that they quit, they shut down. I stand back up and keep going and I learn from it. And so once I started to realize, oh, these are the things that make me stand out. It's not that I have some special talent or some secret sauce. It's just that I'm willing to show up and do the things consistently over time. Mm-hmm. And once I started to uncover, I am special in my own unique way, and this is how, that was sort of a breakthrough for me. But that was a really hard thing, because when you look around and you're looking at what everybody else is doing, you can get into that space of, I don't know what makes me different. I don't know what makes me unique.
Mm-hmm. And that's such a good reminder to so many people. I mean, again, you guys do this for a living. What would be the number one piece of advice that you would give to women who are trying to differentiate themselves and kind of like where you are at?
So I think the biggest thing, no matter what you're trying to do, no matter what you're trying to speak about, is to simply start. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people picture monumental movement. They have this end result of where they want to be. They have that final goal board vision of how they want it to all end up. And you can't be married to that. You actually have to be really, really married to the process. And that means just getting curious about each step. So when Melanie and I in Chic Influencer, when we're working on something, we get really curious about learning new things. And we get curious about why content does well versus content that doesn't do well. We ask ourselves richer questions. So if, for example, our community is quiet, we say, all right, what's going on? Is there something that we can do better? Right. So we just start asking those questions. It's not just the start, but it's the small. It's just taking small steps and getting curious about each step of the way, instead of having the grand vision of where you want to go and only seeing the gap. We can't focus on that gap. We have to be super intentional and focused on those small steps right in front of us.
And to add to that too, Katy, a lot of times we have a type of personality where it's that perfectionism. I have to have all the answers. I have to have the perfect website, the perfect logo, the perfect social media, the perfect image, a professional photographer. And so we cover up our fears and our insecurities by perfection, and we delay taking action because we think that if we have everything perfect, we'll be a success the minute we open our doors for business. And we can tell you from personal experience, there'll always be something you didn't anticipate, something that will always go wrong no matter what. And we even find now, oh gosh, people actually love the candid, unfiltered way more than the polished and professional.
Yeah. I mean, it's, even if you look at our grid, the pictures that always do better are the ones that are imperfect.
Yeah.
I love that part of it. It's just vulnerability matters.
Yeah. And taking action. So I love it. Just perfect, taking action, just getting it out there is so much better than waiting for everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
Love it. Bring us into one of those moments where, a very specific moment, if you would, where you wanted something to be perfect.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Can
you give us an example?
I bet we're going to say the same thing.
Yeah. It was the course. Yeah. Oh my gosh. We have a course. It's called No More Failure to Launch. How ironic. This was our biggest failure in our business. I mean, we had the most well thought out plan. We had planned all of the course content. We hired a studio and a videographer. We went in, we created the entire course in one day. We recorded all of the content. So we had planned, we recorded. We did a 5-day free sort of
build up.
Yeah, we did a free course, almost free group is the word. And so we launched the course and we thought this was going to be awesome. We had a big number in our mind, and it flopped big. And the whole course was about how to launch a product.
Yeah.
So I know, right? And so we've been doing this for years. Yeah. We've had successful launches.
We know how to do it.
But we totally missed the mark. And now looking back on it, right, we really see kind of where we missed it. Yeah.
So there were a couple things that we think happened. Number one, we didn't spend enough time like really building up the launch of the course.
Yeah.
The second thing we noticed was our price point, right? We started asking ourselves those questions. And we also started to notice that we jumped immediately back into marketing other things instead of letting that grow.
Yep.
So because of that, we looked at that launch. And then, of course, right after that, like COVID-19, and there were just other things that sort of happened. But we really look back at that experience and say, it's not a loss, right? It's not a failure as much as it's how can we move forward from it, right? What are we going to do differently next time? How are we going to just treat it differently? How are we going to look at it differently? How are we going to make different decisions when we create those things? And that's what an entrepreneur needs to do. Any business owner who has a flop, and you will have a flop. Everybody will have a flop. Needs to not get angry, but get really curious. Just get really curious about what can I do to make it better.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, and you both have used the word curious more than once. So I think that's a really good takeaway for everybody here. Well, why don't we jump straight into a lightning round of random questions, and we'll just go from there.
All right.
So the first one would be fill in the blank. In high school, I was most likely to...
I don't know, be caught reading a book. I caught reading a book. I was not at all cool. And I was very much the underdog. So I don't.
What was I in high school? I was most likely to be like hanging out with the boys. I was all about the boys in high school.
Okay, great.
Yep, there you go.
I love it. What is your guilty pleasure on Netflix?
Oh, so The Office. Absolutely. I don't think it's guilt though. I think it's wonderful.
Pleasure. Let's leave out the guilt.
No shame in my Office game.
What is so it's not Netflix, but it's I don't watch a lot of TV, but it's Amazon Prime. What is the show that I really like?
Oh, Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
I'm so glad I can answer your
thank you
questions
so much.
for you.
Yes.
First concert.
Oh, New Kids on the Block.
Shania Twain.
Love it.
I had to think about it for a second. What is it?
What is on your nightstand right now?
Oh, a book about the Enneagram.
It is, okay, so my earplugs, because my husband snores. And then also I just finished I went to say it too fast, where the crawdads sing. Is that am I saying that title right? I went to say it too fast.
I'm with you. I think we get it.
No. Oh gosh, phenomenal book.
I love it. How about favorite travel destination?
Italy.
Oh.
For sure.
Sometimes it's just my back patio. I thoroughly enjoy my back patio. But Mexico. Where was that resort?
Yes. The Unico.
Unico, yeah. Phenomenal.
Yeah, that is a good one.
What's something you have at home that would surprise us?
Something that I have at home that would surprise. Oh my gosh, this is a terrible lightning round because I can't think.
I'm looking for. I have.
We can move on.
What is the
maybe in your purse?
Messy cabinets, I would say, is mine. Like messy closets. I think most people think because I'm such a straight-laced like business owner that they think my entire house is clean, and that is if you open my closets, there's a good chance something will fall on you.
Okay.
I have a collection of probably about 100 hoodies. I don't know if I actually do. I wear them.
That works.
Yeah,
That's
I think that's kind of weird.
That's great. Okay, last thing.
Okay.
Where was your first kiss?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
First kiss. Not with my husband.
No.
It was like 7th grade after the basketball game I know exactly where I was. How do I remember this stuff? Like outside the middle school, like when you walk out the doors, like right where the pillar was. I had my first kiss right there. I do remember that.
It was at a birthday party. I just remember we were like slow dancing and he was really awkward, but everyone was like, "You are going to get your first kiss tonight." And I did. And I was like, "Oh, that's awful." And then I didn't kiss anyone for like 3 or 4 more years.
That's great.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Thank you both so much for being with all of us here today. And tell us, I know we've got your information, but please tell everybody what is the best way to reach you?
You can find us on Instagram. That is our platform we're most active on. So it's at Chic Influencer. You can also check out our website, chicinfluencer.com. You can connect with us on Facebook. And we also have a podcast, the Make Chic Happen podcast, that airs every single Thursday.
Wasn't that amazing? I handpicked each of these people so that you can be inspired to find your voice, lead with confidence, and stand out. This is Karen, your host of Ignite Your Confidence.